Hello and welcome back to Worldwide News. I'm Haley Hawkins.
And I'm Andrew Chang. It's November 17th, 2030.
The global fight against climate change has taken a downturn in the last 5 years. In 2025, countries were making slow progress towards the full renewable energy transition that was needed. Almost every nation in the world had signed the Paris Climate Agreement of 2015, but it wasn't enough.
As of 2030, we've seen a definite backslide in global climate posturing, and CO2 emissions have risen in many countries. To explain AI's role in this change, we turn to our interview with AI expert Cliff Ayers-Brown.
Cliff, how has the demand for artificial intelligence led nations to turn back to carbon-based energy?
Thanks for having me. The AI companies use immense resources, including energy and water. Goldman Sachs estimates of the data center power demand to surge by 160% relative to 2023 levels were accurate. To meet this demand, countries have increased their use of coal, gas, and other harmful energy sources. This has caused higher CO2 emissions throughout the world and reduced the global health quality. The use of AI has also led to a strain on clean water that societies can use. Consuming as much as 500 milliliters of water, a single serving water bottle, for each short conversation a user has with ChatGPT, more people are asking if AI is worth the environmental degradation.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you.
As of last week, several more countries have withdrawn from the Paris Climate Agreement.
Here to comment, we have our climate change expert, Eamon Hanahan. Eamon, thanks for coming.
Hi, Andrew and Haley. Yes, more countries have left the climate agreement. Countries used to spend large amounts on green energy. For example, Germany had a $180 billion green energy fund, and South Korea had a $55 billion Green New Deal. However, to remain relevant in the technology industry, countries have abandoned most green energy transition financing, and worldwide CO2 emissions are now skyrocketing. We are already seeing the fallout. Natural disasters have become more frequent and more vicious. Likewise, more people have become migrants as their homelands cannot support their needs anymore.
So which countries have been the hardest hit by climate change?
Definitely countries in the global south with harsh climates and those susceptible to natural disasters are the hardest hit. Small island nations are seeing more hurricanes and typhoons, and desert countries like Chad and Niger have struggled to grow crops due to rising temperatures.
Thank you, Eamon.
Speaking of, let's get an update on how international politics and trade have been affected. Please welcome our politics specialist, Brian Ong.
Thank you for having me on. If we refer to the national security strategies of the Obama and Biden administrations, there was an emphasis on the reestablishment of American financial and economic ties globally. But it seems that the 2017 Trump administration's national security strategy that centered on great power rivalries became much more relevant. As China and other countries caught up with U.S. economic power, we've entered a more multipolar world, and sovereignty and security in this day and age have taken precedence over cooperation.
In what areas, if any, is cooperation still possible between the great powers?
Overall, trade is still happening globally, but imports and exports are down significantly because of trade barriers and trade wars. For example, with the current trade war between China and the US, it's creating hardship for consumers and producers in both countries and in our partner nations as well. Overall, trade is nowhere near where it needs to be in order to decrease tensions among regional powers and establish cooperation.
It's astounding how far back artificial intelligence has set us in the fight against climate change, not to mention the impact this has had on global cooperation and distrust between the great powers.
Absolutely, but there's always a way to change things for the better.
That's right, Andrew. Thank you for watching Worldwide News, and we'll see you next week. Hello and welcome back to Worldwide News. I'm Haley Hawkins.
And I'm Andrew Chang. It's November 17th, 2030, and tonight we're highlighting some incredible recent developments.
5 years ago, the global shift towards renewable energy was failing to keep pace with the necessary phasing out of carbon-based energy sources.
But since the global adoption of the UN Accountability Initiative, we've seen some incredible progress in sustainability programs worldwide. So today we'll take a look at a few areas that have changed the most in recent years.
Our first interview today is with Cliff Ayers-Brown.
Thank you for having me on. Due to the immense power needs of AI, countries all over the world have managed to increase their renewable energy resources, which has made energy more reliable and cheaper around the world. AI has also become more efficient in how it uses resources, which has allowed us to see a year over year decrease in the water that is used to maintain AI systems and infrastructure. These advancements have allowed society to benefit from AI due to massive investments from governments and companies. Companies like Microsoft and Apple have fulfilled their promises to become carbon neutral, and some even negative, by this time frame. Even with the massive AI investments, companies like Amazon have also realized their goals of producing more water in the system than they use. We are expecting the societal benefits from AI to continue.
Thank you.
Next, we're featuring our climate and energy expert, Eamon Hanlon.
Hi, Andrew and Haley. Yes, the green energy industry has taken massive strides over the past few years, and we really have the AI boom to thank. Countries who wanted to be competitive in the AI space realized they would need a lot of energy to cool and run their servers, and so they invested heavily on renewable energy to meet these demands.
So what types of renewable energy have been the most efficient in powering AI?
Great question. Improvements in solar and wind energy technology have really been crucial. We've seen countries throughout the world use solar and wind power now to replace oil and gas energy. Green climate funds like the Inflation Reduction Act and in America and the EU's Next Gen stimulus have really enabled this transition. I'm also happy to see large states and actors like the United States, EU, and others reinvest and double down on these climate funds. We really see these funds paying dividends as they have really enabled the AI boom without exacerbating CO2 emissions.
Thank you, Eamon. It's great to see how these technological breakthroughs have led to such positive results for both the climate and the economy.
Absolutely.
Other countries have been utilizing this technology as well, and it's taken a lot of global cooperation to make it happen.
To speak more on this, we've invited our politics specialist, Brian Ung.
Thanks for having me on. Global trade has continued to remain steady, with trade increases in terms of green energy related products like electric cars and solar panels. In sub Saharan Africa specifically, communities have been able to integrate solar panels into their daily lives for cleaner energy, and there's a sizable industry that employs jobs related to renewables. So while underlying disagreements are still there between, for example, China and the US, the temperature overall has decreased, and we have more economic and trade cooperation, and we've been able to advance renewable energy markets all across the globe. So overall, things are looking up compared to where we were in the 2020s.
Thank you, Brian.
As you can see, we've made some extraordinary progress in the past few years. Let's hope the future continues to stay optimistic and remember that every positive action helps.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching Worldwide News, and we'll see you next week.